to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a filmmaker, photographer, business owner, none other than Mr. Stewart Cohen.
Thanks for having me, Daniel. I appreciate you making time to get me in here to talk with you.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Mr. Stewart, thank you. And today let's talk about making your small business work for you lifestyle. So tell us what it's all about.
Well, that's an easy question, Daniel. I mean, my passion is filmmaking and photography, and that's all I ever wanted to do. And after after I started my business, I've created a career and a business to support my I call it, what they say, make your vocation your vacation, and that's what I've done.
Yes, I like that, Mr. Stewart. Vacation as well as what doing business. So let's start at the core. When you decided to build a business around your lifestyle, what was a specific personal goal? Was there a geographic freedom, time with family, a creative control, or how does that why still drive your decisions today?
That's an interesting question, but I don't know if I really thought about it that way, Daniel. When I was growing up, my father and my stepfather both had their own small businesses, and I was told to do what you love. That's what my family kind of really enforced, and I didn't know any better, so I just figured I have to have my own business, and I've lived by that. So I went out and started knocking on doors and looking for work to support what I wanted to do, which was to shoot photography and make commercials, and that's pretty much it. If I'm not shooting, I'm looking for the next project.
Yes, definitely. The phrase lifestyle business can sometimes carry a negative connotation of a limited growth. How do you respond to that? And what conscious trade offs have you made in revenue or scale to protect your desired quality of life?
I think that's really interesting. I don't know if there are limitations. I think it's about understanding what you do in life and trying to create your life and lifestyle around what you do, knowing, of course, money is something, how much money you could bring in and how do you live a lifestyle within those means. Um, I don't think I've actually traded anything off. If anything, I have more benefits because I do call my own shots, and I've never thought of it that way because I'm probably harder on myself than any boss would be. But but I'm doing it for myself, and I think that's at the end of every day. You think about you're doing it for yourself, and that's all that matters.
Yes, you're enjoying it and you have the passion of what you are doing. Lifestyle is a vague. How have you made it operational? Do you have any negotiable rules like no client calls after 4 p.m. or must be able to run the business from a laptop or 2 weeks a year?
Well, think about this. I mean, I've been doing this for a while now, so even before laptops and mobile phones and the one thing I've always done, and this is the one trade-off, like if you work for a company and you say, I'm taking off the first 2 weeks of November, well, then you can take off the first 2 weeks of November. When it's your own business, I have planned many trips that I've had to postpone and it's always been you get the biggest job of your life, or you think you're getting the biggest job of your life. And I think flexibility is a good word to if you're going to be in your own business. I think you need to understand that nothing is really set in stone, that everything is fluid. I think today it's a lot easier because of all the technology. So you're not chained to a location, to a desk, like when you're in between jobs, or to a landline. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, I was in China, and the phone rings, and it was a client, and I just answer the phone just like I'm there for them. So I think it's actually easier now than it used to be. And I think that's why there's been such a growth of people with their own small businesses. And I think we have ultimate flexibility.
Tremendous growth indeed. And tell us, what is your specific filtering process for saying no to a lucrative project or customer that would derail your lifestyle goals?
Well, okay, so the thing to remember, most of my projects are no longer than, 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but usually a commercial production shoot is 2 to 3 days. So no project is super, super long. And when you factor in pre-production and everything, so you figure you're on a project for a month. Now, in terms of filtering what you don't want to do, when I get, say, a storyboard or a brief across my desk, and it's really not what we do, you have a couple phone calls with the people, and you price it, and a lot of times it just goes away. It doesn't work. You don't blend. Sometimes, of course, you know, they say they would really love you to do it, and you create a deeper understanding for the project and the client, and you actually embrace it. Um, so it's one of those things, back to that word I said earlier about flexibility and understanding, and knowing that you never know where your next project's coming from, and things can change with one phone call.
Mm, interesting, Mr. Stewart. Truly, truly empowering answer. How is your pricing strategy directly enable your lifestyle? Did you have to move from charging from the time to charging for value or cost outcomes to create the freedom you wanted?
Um, we've always charged based on the project. So not necessarily by the hour or by the time, but it's really by the deliverable. And understanding what the industry standards were, and what the high end was and what the low end was, I was able to always be kind of on the, kind of at the low end of the high end, if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
you price your projects in a way to put yourself into the higher end of them. And right there, just there'll be natural attrition, like the lower price jobs will go away. And hopefully you'll attract the higher price jobs. And with the higher price jobs comes, I think, more freedom and more flexibility, because you get to work with really, really professional team members. And I think it makes your work look better. So I've tried to really stay on the higher end of things, and hopefully, I've created some respect for myself in the industry, and I take huge pride in the work we do and the work we deliver, and I stay in touch with clients, and actually, a lot of clients come back time and time again because of that.
Interesting. And beyond the basics, what is one specific, non obvious process you systematize or automated that give you back significant amount of personal time or mental energy?
Well, that's a good one, because I think as time goes on, I think everything gets easier. I think I think, you know, in this world, we all think about the downward price pressure of projects, of creative work. But the thing that we don't remember is how much quicker we can get things done now. And unfortunately, of course, that comes with a price tag. So, but we could be more efficient, and we could get more done in less time. So, say for instance, back in the day when we used to shoot film, we would have to take film to a lab, drive to the lab, go pick up the film, drive back to the lab, come back to the studio. All that's over now. That's gone. So that all that time is gone. Um, one thing I do by working with really high-end professionals, say for instance, video editors, I turn over the storyboard and the footage to them, and they take on the work of creating the next step in the project. And I could just, look at the edits they do and direct it from there. So I think we figure out what we each individually want to do and excel at doing, and then we use other team members to do the rest of it.
Mr. Stewart, how do you build a team that supports your lifestyle without you becoming a bottleneck? Does this mean hiring overqualified people for autonomy or using a fractional experts instead of full-time employees?
Well, I will say that I still have some full-time employees whom I love and I trust implicitly. And I think they're really important to have. So we have a small core team that all knows everything that has to happen. And with that team, we hire freelance experts that work with us on different projects. And how we do that is we, find people that we've worked with. Usually, I mean, we're always trying new people, and the people that we try and we like, of course, we use again and again and again. And then when we travel, we use different people from different cities and different states and different countries. And if we've had good experiences with them, again, we work with them again, and so the commercial production world is somewhat of a small community. And if you are a really, really talented person, your name gets around. Likewise, if you do not do great work, that follows you around also. So, that's some way, if I'm going to a city that I've never worked in, I'll just pick up the phone and find somebody that I respect their work, give them a call and say, hey, I need this, this, and this in your city. Can you recommend somebody? So we use a lot of freelance people, which definitely equates to a lot of 1099s at the end of the year, which you guys don't have in Canada, but we have here. And but in terms of my core team, I no longer have like a full-time accounting person. And so we outsource that. And I guess we could call it fractionals. They're on retainers that they get paid monthly, and they are not on site, and they do certain areas of our work. And I continue to try, Daniel. I continue to try how to use different people to take over some of the back office work. And with every year, of course, more and more of it becomes viable. And now, of course, we are looking at different forms of AI to do certain routine tasks, and we're embracing that to its fullest. Whenever we think an AI can do more than a human, we just that work goes away, and it becomes just the responsibility of the AI bot.
Mr. Stewart, many entrepreneurs confuse cash flow with wealth. How do you structure your personal finances and pay yourself to ensure the business truly funds your life rather than your life being perpetually reinvested into the business?
That's I don't know where you got that question, but I will tell you that's a really good question. Um,
Thank
um,
you.
I think being in a small business, this is the downside. I will tell you the upside and the downside of being in a small business. The upside of being in a small business is when times are good, you can make a lot of money. And and hopefully what I've learned, of course, is I put a lot of money away early and reinvested it outside my business. Um, I do think when times are good, I take a big salary. When times aren't good, my salary is not as big. Um, I've always tried to make sure that I do pay myself. But yet, like I said, I have full time employees and they have to be paid. And so it ebbs and flows. But when I tell you that I've been doing this for, it's 2020, nearly 2026 now. uh, and I've been doing it for 25 years. And I've, you know, it's been good. I've been very lucky and very fortunate. I'll just say that. And also, I do watch every dollar though. And and I'm lucky like that, Daniel. I think part of my, being in a creative business, you need to be right brained, and the business they say is left brained. And is that the right? No, or is that the other way around? I don't know. but um but I'm split in the middle. So I'm always thinking about the bottom line too. And I have this ability to, even when we're in production, to know in my mind what things are costing and what things aren't costing. And like if a client says, midway through a day, hey, could we bring a helicopter in here? I know how much that's going to cost and how much we have in the budget. So I think that's been a real gift. I'm not afraid of numbers. I'm not afraid of looking at a P&L, and I'm not afraid of cutting expenses when I have to. And actually, and trying, the other thing I've done in my business is I have reinvested heavily in my business, and in terms of myself, because it's myself. So I market our services to the trade. I market to anyone I think may be able to help us with our next project. And I feel like that's the best investment I could have made. You could, granted, I guess if you took some money and invested in Nvidia, you might have made more money, but reinvested in yourself, hopefully that brings you projects for the next couple of years.
What are the one or two pivotal pieces of technology in your freedom stack that you can't imagine running your lifestyle business without, Mr. Stewart?
Well, I mean, that's an easy one. Obviously, my phone and my computer. Um, um, and beyond that, yeah, my cameras and the technology in cameras, how they've evolved and made things easier and better. And we now, um you know now granted, this goes back a long time, but like I was saying, it used to be film, then it was digital, then it's tethered into a computer, and now, like on a still photography, it goes right into the computer. In certain instances, you don't even need to be attached to the computer. Um, and I think we're starting to see that with video as well. And I think so I think staying up with technology is quite important, and being really aware of what technology can do to make us more efficient and also make the client experience more enjoyable.
Many start with lifestyle dream but fall back into a 60-hour work week. What was the biggest mindset shift you had to make to break the cycle and trust that working less could be more profitable?
That's a good one, Daniel. Although we don't know each other well enough for you to know that I don't work 60 hours a week. No. um, uh, I in my world, sometimes when you're in the middle of a couple of projects, you can be working a lot of hours. I mean, they're very time intensive and labor intensive, and that's part of the game. But then, of course, after the projects, you have complete flexibility, and maybe you don't want to go in the morning, and maybe you do take your calls from the airport on your way to New York or something, on a way to a vacation. Maybe you do take a call on a beach somewhere. But I would say that, not to bust your bubble, but I think I've been the kind of guy who really enjoys the game and the process of work, and I have been relatively disciplined in in committing a lot of time and effort to making sure my business works.
Wow, interesting, Mr. Stewart.
I wish I
Inter-
could tell you that. I wish I could say, Daniel, no, I'm on the beach in Bali all the time, and once in a while I go take a job, but it's not that way.
So, have you found that building a business around your lifestyle has itself become a unique selling proposition, attracting a clients and talent who value your authenticity and approach?
I think so. I think people respect the effort and the time that we have to put in to be successful, and and there have been a lot of times that people envy the perceived. I'm going to say the perceived lifestyle of being your own small business owner. Um, and I do realize that we do have a lot of perks. And quite honestly, Daniel, I don't even know what they are because my whole life has been like that. So I have created a life around my life. Like I said, make your vocation your vacation. My life is what you see on the screen. And one of my clients said why they love hiring us is because I'm always looking, always shooting. If I'm not shooting a job, I'm still shooting because I love it. And when I was in China last month, one of my old employees lives there, and we went out. I found some crazy places around Shanghai to go. And he said, "How did you find these places? I've never even been here." And I'm like, "No, I want to go take pictures there. I want to go shoot some film." And and we were there and he looks at me and he said, "You really love this, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Don't you?" And he said, "No, I don't. I thought I did. And when I worked for you, I really thought this was what I was going to do, but it's really not my passion." And I think that was really interesting for me to see because for me, it's always been my passion. And I think if you're passionate about something, it makes it so much easier. And honestly, I don't even think of the time and effort I put into it. But like I said, I was in Shanghai and we were committed to do some other projects. But when I had free time, I was looking for crazy stuff to shoot there too, because I love it. I just love it.
So, as a filmmaker and photographer, Mr. Stewart, what are your short term and long term goals?
Well, my short term goals are kind of this is a little weird period. We're in a transition period now, Daniel, you know, with marketing, people want to do projects for less money. Everyone wants to use AI. We're all trying to use technology to its fullest advantage. My goal is to really get past this period, find where all um, the shortcuts and the benefits of AI are going to come into play, and use it in all our productions, and figure out the best way forward. And kind of there's a lot of noise in the industry right now. And long term, I want to be in the media industry. I love the media industry. I want to stay on the forefront of it. And in order to do that, you really need to read a lot, experiment a lot, talk to a lot of people, and just keep doing it. I think once you stop, you'll get left behind.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. Stewart, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
Oh, it's an easy piece of advice. I'd say don't sweat the small stuff, and just remember it's a long road. It's the journey, not the destination. And just have fun, smile, and meet interesting people.
Mm, yes. Thank you for that advice, Mr. Stewart. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, I would recommend a book. Well, one thing, I got a great opportunity to spend a week with Tony Robbins on
Hmm.
his island in Fiji because we were there to photograph him. And I think reading some Tony Robbins is always good because it'll wake you up. I think any biography of any successful entrepreneur is exciting. And I like the reading biographies of the early days of entrepreneurs. Like, how did they get successful? And I think those are very inspiring. And I would say find your heroes and read about how they got started.
Yes, definitely. Tony Robbins. As a security guard now, it's like what? Something else. So, thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Stewart. And for the entrepreneur who feels like a slave to their business, what is the one single actionable piece of advice that you've them them to take the first step back forward ownership of their own life?
Yes. And I think if you feel a slave to your business, I would definitely write down everything you do, what you like, what you don't like, and the things that are really dragging you down. Either try to figure out a way to do without them or outsource it to somebody else. Just take it off your plate because not enjoying every day is a real mistake.
Definitely. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, Mr. Stewart, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and Mob Book 101 Review in fifth season too, Comedy 101 in fourth season, and Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography, Love Letters, Movie, and Music are in their fourth season. My Baby Podcast, Law 101, Mental Health and Bible Verses 101, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its second season. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Stewart, how do you roughly audit your business to ensure it's still serving your lifestyle? Is there a specific set of questions you ask yourself each quarter?
Daniel, I'm impressed with as many podcasts as you have, and I'm going to listen to every one of them. I think
Thank
that's
you.
amazing. But what I ask myself every day is I have this internal meter. Am I having a good time? And am I making enough money to make sure that I'll still be here next month? So, yeah. And it's having a good time. And I do. I wake up early every morning and I'm just jazzed for the day. Have a good time and go forward.
Yes, 5 a.m. club, Mr.
Yeah, that's
Stewart.
me. That's
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can
thank
you
you, Daniel.
please invite our listeners? Yes, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Absolutely. Well, I'd love you to follow me, stewartcohen.com. We have all our news there. And you could always reach me on LinkedIn or just a direct email, stewart@stewartcohen.com. And I'm always here to help and to talk through stuff or to do projects for you. So thanks for listening.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Stewart Cohen because if you support him, for sure more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Mr. Stewart, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
More to come, people. See you soon.